And we're going to bring out the producer of the film, Anthony Bregman. And we have something for you. We give the golden thumb.
That is awesome. Oh, wow.
Charlie has his. Do you want to? Why don't we put someone in between you and Charlie? Okay. So you sit there. And to round out our panel tonight, we're going to have, as moderator, someone who, a film critic who writes and was also seen on the Ebert and Roper show as well. And she has lots of other credits. You have to excuse me tonight. After the movie, I'm just like in a really sort of contemplative mood. I think you understand. Let's welcome Kim Morgan. And tonight we also have Nell Minow, who's been here at Ebertfest before. She's also known as the Movie Mom. You find her at beliefnet.com. And I'm just going to mention briefly, she's also the daughter of Newton Minow, who was the one who coined the phrase, TV was a vast wasteland, and an accomplished family, also the sister of Martha Minow, who is a dean at the Harvard Law School and on the short list for the Supreme Court list. Nell. And one of my favorites, Michael Barker, the head of Sony Pictures Classics.
Well, first I want to say I'm thrilled to be here, and I want to thank Roger for inviting me. This is my first time here. And I'm thrilled that it's for this film, a film that I love and that Roger, of course, loves, and that I'm sitting next to, I think, one of the greatest artists working today. And I'm still trying to collect myself, actually, after watching this movie. This is the third time I've seen it. It hits spots in me that I'm not even aware of. It kind of crawls inside my body and hits little soft spots that I wasn't sure were there. And it's very emotional for me. It's very funny. There's so many layers of meaning. There's so many different theories that you can attribute to it. And it's incredibly poignant, sad, and it's a little overwhelming by the end. And again, I am trying to collect myself. I didn't want to start crying before I came out here. But what I love about it is that it is both entirely relatable and yet mysterious. You can feel it deep in your soul, and then you still are not sure exactly how you feel about it, exactly what it's getting at inside of you. And I'm not sure if other people have the same reaction that I have, but if anyone would care to discuss.
I could say from having made the movie when we were putting it together and working with the crew in pre-production, a lot of times there'd be questions about what does this mean and what does, like exactly why is the house on fire and all those things, and people would come up to Charlie and say, well, so why is it something this way? And Charlie would say, oh, I don't know, why do you think it's this way? It would always be kind of like the Rorschach test. I think when we were shooting, I think it was actually after. I think there's a story that Charlie told me that our set decorator came up to Charlie at our cast crew screening and said, oh, now I understand why the house is on fire. And
who was that?
It was, it was, wasn't it, it was a set dresser who came up to you and said that. Or that's the story you told me.
I was lying. He didn't understand.
And I think he was a guy who was an older guy who was working, who's working in films. He said, I know why the house is on fire. It's because
okay. No, that was while we were shooting. You're talking about, I know who you're talking about. No, he really related to it. It was actually at a point when other people weren't getting it, and he just out of nowhere came up to me and told me that, that it was very, I'm not going to say who it is or what it meant to him because it's not for public.
But he was
affected by it. And he was wrong. He was wrong. I mean, what he said was. No, I'm just kidding. He wasn't.
I had started a list, actually, when the movie came out, of all the things that all the different meanings of why the house is on fire. And of course, it was always completely a Rorschach test of how people kind of, related to their own lives and questions of
Mostly it was because I'm pretentious and full of shit. That was the very popular reason.
How did you respond to that? Because the movie is so divided.
How do I respond to that?
The divided takes on this movie. People love it or hate it, it seems.
I mean, I think in my ideal version of myself, I would be really thrilled by that. But in my actual needy self, especially when it becomes personal and sort of that kind of stuff, it has been painful for me. But I'm working through it. I'll be relieved to know, and I will no longer be reading anything that anyone ever says about me again. Which I recommend for anybody.
I want to tell you what happened the first time I saw the movie. This is my second time seeing it. For those of you who saw it the first time tonight, I totally recommend a second and a third time seeing it. And the first time that I saw it was with about 6 other critics in a large room where we were spread all around. It's much, much, much better to see it with an audience as engaged and responsive as this one. But I have to tell you that when we saw it the first time, we were very, very excited, really looking forward to it. We're all big Charlie Kaufman fans, and so we came in just filled with anticipation. And this is going to upset you, but about 5 minutes into the film, the entire screen went dark. And we were watching it going, wow, he's really taking us to a whole different place. And about 5 minutes later, one of the critics said, I think the projector is broken. And
that was part of it, too.
But we were really working. We were with you all the way. And so they had to restart the film for us.
I had an idea to do a movie with a completely white screen. I did. I wanted to do blindness that way, from the point of view of someone who couldn't see. I thought that would be effective and cheap, mostly.
I think that's called radio.
Yeah, it is radio.